own experiences, feeling underconfident with money and not knowing how to manage it, not knowing what to do, not knowing the right things to do, and essentially just ending up feeling very, very lost and without answers in this area. So I didn't want anybody else to have to feel or go through what I've had to go through. And as a result, I decided that I was going to make sure that I could share as much as possible about my own experiences, and subsequently created a plan that I call the 5 pillars of financial stability. Hi, Thomas. Great to see you. I hope you're joining on HAP so that we can stay in touch. Hi, Glasgow. So for everybody who is hearing me, hi, Connor, saying hi to other people. This is a live broadcast at the time of recording. And if you cannot see the comments, it's because the comments are showing to me from different platforms. So this app, HAPS, is a very interesting one because you can broadcast from the one place and all of the comments from other places will come in so that you can see them. Thank you, Thomas. But if you are not on HAPS, you can't see all of the comments from the different places. You can only see the comments that are coming from the place that you are at. So if you're on YouTube, you'll only see comments that are coming from YouTube. If you are on Twitter, you will only see comments that are coming through from Twitter. So just to let you know that, in case you're here and wondering who I'm randomly talking to, obviously that would be very confusing, as I realized when I saw yesterday's first broadcast out across the multicast platforms. It looked like I was just talking to nobody because they don't show up. So for everybody who's new to HAPS and new to this method of multicasting across massive what Thomas is getting reboot, what does that mean? You'll see me talking about the topic and then jumping back and forth, describing like reactions or describing my reactions to, and then Raven made a face about that. Yes, so I'm going to be having to figure out this whole HAPS platforms situation with all of the different platforms that it brought across. I am a Periscoper, and Periscope is shutting down. So with the fact that Periscope's going to be out of here, then it's going to be me and Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So thank you for your understanding of the fact that I'm probably not very experienced in a lot of these live broadcast platforms. So if it seems a bit clunky, then thank you so much. Oh, somebody was just saying that Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends is having a spin-off. And that's pretty exciting, frankly. What? In October 2021. Frankly, I'm personally very excited about the Venom movie, but I know this is how this digresses every time we have live chats, because it's just one of those things that happens with live, and also I'm very easily distracted. So the topic today is 3 mental health money safeguard ideas. I'm sure that the Thomas the Tank Engine movie and the Venom movie will make both of us very, very happy. So that will be very advantageous to our mental health on that particular day that comes out. And so just diving right into it, what I realized through having past depression and then experiencing later on some anxiety when I was trying to take on far too much, being ambitious, but not having my schedule and habits in place to be able to support that ambition very efficiently. I've experienced both depression and I've experienced very severe anxiety. And it's really uncomfortable. And what I realized is that having mental health struggles and wanting to be in control of our money is often in conflict. So what I realized were some helpful things from what I thought I could have done better through my mental health and money experiences. And I did some of these things, but not to the full degree, because I was very much in the mental health situation at the time. And so I wasn't able to really strategically think of these as a plan. But I actually did all of these at separate times, and have now curated them into one little list of 3 mental health money safeguard ideas. So 1 is a time deposit, 2 is auto investing, and 3 is having a separate account. Thanks, Thomas. Thank you. Thank you for following on HAPS, and thank you everyone else for following, subscribing, and liking and commenting on whatever platform you might be on. I'm Raven, and I talk about money topics, and we'll be creating an online course to assist and help promote financial literacy and confidence for anyone out there who is ready for that particular thing at this time in their life. So if you're finding me, if you're watching this, then you're here. Welcome. I'm so glad that your karmic address has aligned with my karmic address. So we're both like neighbors now, like on this same topic. So I'm very, very glad for you on this journey, because it means that there will be a lot more abundance and wealth and, yeah, some challenges, but not those uncomfortable past challenges, new challenges that have answers in them that can help us to feel much more confident and empowered in ourselves. So those are the types of challenges that we want in life, right? The ones that we grow through and then end up feeling like we have gained a lot out of. So thank you everyone for following and for liking and for sharing and for everything that you're doing on this scope, on this broadcast. You can see my old habits coming through. So these 3 mental health money safeguard ideas are really to help increase the hassle for us to access our money. And that really works in a way that I realized when I was very, very mired in depression and very severe chronic depression. I found everything very difficult. And everyone who has had depression knows that this is how a lot of us experience it. It's like doing everything while pulling a full semi-trailer truck or an airplane like on our shoulders behind us. Getting out of bed is a struggle. Getting to dress and shower, every single step of the process of every single day is really very painful and tiring, more importantly. And really, we're just exhausted all the time. And it's a constant effort. Thank you so much, Marsha. Great to see you here. And thank you for following and liking and for being here on whatever platform you're on. So this topic is born from the fact that I wasted a lot of money through those years that I had depression. And it was because, one, I was too overwhelmed to be able to manage it. Two, I didn't know how to manage it, which is also one of the areas that really inspired me to create this upcoming course on the 5 pillars of financial stability, which is really just a comprehensive plan that I created for my family to make sure that we were looking after ourselves in a way that was very stable, but very, very easy and sustainable for not only stability, but to build wealth. So with that in mind, I realized that the things that I did some parts of to try and protect myself and protect my money when I was in depression, right? Even though I was really struggling with it, I knew that in some way I wanted to have investments. I wanted to have some wealth building, but I couldn't quite get a strategy in place at that point. Thankfully, I've emerged from that space, and now I'm able to look back and say, here are some of the strategies that I did try to use, but could have more efficiently used. So for anybody who is in that space right now, perhaps, or has emerged or knows someone in that space, these are just some ideas to be able to say, here's something that someone else has done or suggested that may be helpful or useful to you. So the first idea of the 3, first idea is time deposit, second is auto invest, and third is separate account. So all of these are created to prevent us from kind of accessing our money in a bad state, right? So knowing that when we're in depressive states, for me, I would just compulsively shop to try and ease my depression, to try and escape from my place of discomfort. And so what I realized was that putting money into a time deposit, it not only helps to increase the money slightly. Time deposits usually don't have very high interest rates, but putting money into a time deposit, like say if I get a paycheck and I have this amount, if I could just chuck it into a time deposit, then at least that money is doing something that is not being eroded by inflation. And it's also safeguarded, because I can't be bothered going to the bank and unlocking the time deposit and forfeiting whatever forfeit there is for me having had, like the money out 5 days before the deadline or 1 year before the deadline. So the way it works for the time deposit is you go into the bank, you say, I want to set up a time deposit. I want to put this much into a time deposit. I'm going to just tuck it into a time deposit, and you get a small percentage interest on your money. So it's a way to kind of lock your money into this. And And what happens is the bank holds it for you. Yeah, okay, so they're using it for other stuff, whatever they're using it for. But the point is that you lock your money in. Sorry, I don't know why it's so jumpy today. It's really, really strange. You lock your money in to a time deposit, and then that money is only accessible when the time deposit is ready for the duration that you've put it in, whether it's 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. I personally, you know, I know a lot of people, they like to put time deposit into 6 months, but that really requires you to go back and really like look after that money every 6 months. And for me, in that depressive time, it made more sense for me to put my money into a time deposit for like a year, or even something like 5 years. I didn't do 5 years, but that type of thing would have made more sense for me, because then at least I have a chance to really try and work through figuring out my depression and get into a more stable space while my money is not being eroded. So that's just one idea to help safeguard. This isn't going to grow us massive wealth. It's not going to be super, super like helpful for getting us rich in any way. It's just to make sure that we don't have that money to waste on stuff because it's just sitting in our account and we can see it, or it's just sitting in our account and we're just spending and really not budgeting, not paying attention, and not taking charge of our life. So it's just there in the time deposit. If we can arrange that and feel comfortable with that type of thing as an idea to help keep it safe from ourselves and our depression. It's just to sort of stash it really somewhere that we can't see it, and essentially won't want to bother having to try and get before the expiry time, because we've got our whole day and our whole life to try and manage to get through. Because with depression, everything is such an effort that, you know, going into the bank, sitting with somebody, talking with somebody, unlocking the time deposit, taking the penalty, blah, 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 blah. There's just a lot of steps for someone who's very depressed. Hi, Alframa. Hi, Vince. So it's one way to help us to find it easier to put money aside in a way that we won't necessarily access, or we will be a little bit encouraged not to not to access. I'm forgetting the word right now. There will be resistance around accessing it because of the fact that it will take so much effort. So thank you, Vince. Thank you for subscribing. So everybody, I'm here on Haps if you want to subscribe to me on Haps. And also if you are watching on another platform, feel free to subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and follow, like, comment, share, all of the above. If you are hearing me talk about certain comments that are coming up then and you can't see them, it's because it's all curated onto Haps and I can see all the comments on Haps. But if you are on YouTube, you can only see comments that are written on YouTube. If you are on Twitter, you can only see comments that are written on Twitter, and so on and so forth, vice versa. So the second way to mental health money safeguard is to auto invest. Now, this one actually is my personal favorite because I know a lot of people who don't have mental health issues, who are doing fine, who also do this. And it's a really good way for us at any state of our life to get our paycheck and immediately have some of it go out into investments. And so we do have to dedicate the area that we want this auto invest to go into, but we can set it up at our bank. Just replying to Vince. It's good to see you, Vince, as well. Thank you so much for joining and subscribing. Great to see you here on Haps. So when we go into our banks for auto invest, we just go in and we ask them that we want to create a monthly auto investment, and they should be able to set that up for us for any amount that we want, whether it's like $100 or $50 or $1,000 or whatever it may be, right? Depending on what our currency is, depending on what our situation is. And so when we do this auto invest thing, it means that we're dollar cost averaging. We're putting our money into investments over a longer period of time. And so we're averaging out what the markets are doing. We're not just buying when it's high and selling when it's low or doing any of that crazy stuff that is really not recommended. But a lot of people do, because behaviorally, that's what a lot of people feel compelled to do when markets are going up and down. If we're not traders, if we're not professionals, we should not be day trading if we don't have a really good hold of our emotion and really tactical, logical minds that are analytical based and able to see like numerical trends that we are following and betting on. If we're not that type of person, we really shouldn't be trying to do day trading. We shouldn't be trying to like buy when things are good, or buy this super fancy stock, for, in my opinion. Hi Yassine, great to see you. Hi St. Petersburg. So that's just my opinion. And yes, disclaimer that I should have said at the start of this video, I'm not a finance industry professional. All of these insights are just my opinions and views, and that's all I talk about and share here on these broadcasts. I apologize for all of the glitching. I have no idea why it is doing so, but I will check on that later. I know my Haps app is updated, and yes, I think maybe I just need to turn my phone off and on again. So apologies if anybody else is seeing any glitching. So the auto invest is a really great idea, because it means that we get into the habit of investing without really having to make any effort other than the setup. And it means that we end up accumulating. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marcia, for she said you have amazing insight into these topics. I'm enjoying all your sharing. Thank you, Marcia. If it's helpful for you or anybody else, I'm so glad. You can please share or like or comment, or like send this to anybody who is useful, who finds this useful. Gosh, my word's really on here today. So the auto investing is very, very handy for developing that habit, because as we come out of having depression or anxiety or other mental health issues, that investment will still be there. That investment will still be growing and making us money. And essentially, we can just leave it going. We just look at the amount of our salary that we are able to auto invest every month, and then we can make sure, or whether our mental health is, in various phases of flux, we are knowing on some level that we're taking care of ourselves. And that's really, really empowering for us, especially when we're going through such difficult times of our life and struggling with our own mental health, which essentially just it warps all of our life experience, because we see life and we experience life through the filter of our minds and through the filter of our brains, our eyes, our physical self. And when that is struggling and suffering, then it is a really a very unhappy existence, right? For most of us. I know it was for me. Hi, Heavenly Jew. Hi, Dallas. So the third thing that we can do, and this is something that is really, if we really, really feel like we have no control over ourselves and we really want to make it very difficult for ourselves to access our money, is to create a separate account. And this is something that we would actually take our money and just throw it into, knowing that getting into a new separate account is going to be quite a pain in the butt. I don't like this one as much because of the fact that the money in there will just be sitting there depreciating. It will be losing, like inflation is 3 to 4% a year. And so that $1 that we put in the next year will only be worth 96 cents the year after if we're just sitting there doing nothing. And so we really, if we were to put things into a separate account, we'd be better off putting things into a separate account and then trying to put it into a time deposit or even investment or something like that. Although personally, I like to keep all my investments together in not necessarily like this, but I prefer not to have like loads of different accounts and spread out all over the place, because it means that I have a lot more fees and costs that I would have to keep an eye on. So the separate account idea is the third of the 3 mental health money safeguards. Time deposit number 1, auto invest number 2, and 3, separate account. But my personal favorite of the 3 of these, for anybody who has depression or anxiety or mental health issues and really wants to try and safeguard their money from themselves. So these 3 things are my 3 top ideas that I have done through trying to maintain and manage my own money in the past when I had mental health struggles. My favorite one is the auto invest. Number 2 is the auto invest, where you go into the bank, you ask to make an auto investment, set up auto investment for every month, and you go ahead and have this auto investment that is coming out of your account whenever you get your paycheck. And it really is a way to not only look after your money and make sure that it goes somewhere, away from where you can access it in a bad day, but it's a way for you to develop a habit that is something that we can sustain moving forward. So once we get out of our mental health funk, hopefully we are all able to do that. And even for people who are not able to like emerge from this but just have to manage lives, this is a really great way to make sure that we're looking after ourselves in our financial lives, and making sure that regardless of whether our mental health issues are here to stay or come and go or can be resolved, we know that on some level we are creating stability for ourselves, and that should give a sense of stability for most of us. Most of us will feel more secure when we know that we are being looked after in some way, especially by ourselves. Right? We know we're looking after ourselves. We know that we have auto invest coming through. We know that we're putting money towards whatever important thing. If we are very in the mental health situation, then it can be helpful to wait for a slightly better day to do this, or ask for help from somebody who is very, very close to us and helps us through the good days and bad days, if we have those people. If not, then wait for a slightly better day when we feel a little bit stronger and go in and set this up, because we know that on the bad days, we will not want to untangle this. We will not want to try and unravel the auto invest. And frankly, a lot of us who are going through mental health issues will just do our auto invest. And then when that money is going out every month, after a while, it becomes a bit more of a habit. Like it goes out automatically, and we're automatically looking after ourselves without having to worry about doing all these fine detail things. And what we're doing when we're auto investing is we're long-term buy and hold. Like we're buying investments that are really long term. So when we go in, we would want to ask the bank person whether they have any recommendations. If we are able to look into things ourselves, then great, because it ultimately boils down to us and our responsibilities in our financial life. But we would theoretically go into the bank and ask the person, what do you have in terms of auto investments, in terms of like long-term buy and hold? Like, is there anything that you can recommend? Funds that have like less than 1% fee and hold that I can auto invest every month, because not every can invest country and in your banks. Even different banks have different policies. So just a reminder, I'm not a financial industry professional. I simply share here on my broadcasts and on my platforms and channels my experience developing my own personal finance strategy, the 5 pillars of financial stability. So I will be launching this course later in this year, and the 5 pillars are money mindsets, savings, budgeting, investing, wills, and legacy. And I realized that these 5 areas were really, really important for money mindsets and for me being able to manage our family money in a way that was strategically designed for simplicity and long-term wealth building. Not crazy Instagram wealth with the yachts and the billionaire planes and things like that, but just normal wealth where we can enjoy life, do a lot of charity work, impact invest. And for us, we're aiming for those types of things. But for most of us, it's simply financial stability. It's simply financial stability, being able to go on holidays, not having to worry about money. That's really what it is. For most of us, not having to worry about money is, for most of us, the essence of financial stability. It's really what most of us want in our money lives. And those people who are going out and doing amazing business and making billions of dollars and really doing that stuff, they're fine. This course isn't for them. This is for the rest of us who want to have that feeling of stability and security in ourselves, and that confidence and empowerment in knowing that we have grown into all the things that we wish we had been taught in school. And it's very simple. All of these things, all of these areas, the 5 pillars of financial stability, any one of us can do, because it's not about numbers, it's about behavior. And if you've ever tried to do something even slightly different, I will do my hair slightly different today. I will do my eyeliner slightly different today. I will consider going this way or that way, or I'll try a new direction, or I'll try a new then absolutely you can do your money stuff, because you've proven that you can do something new that's slightly different to what you've already been doing. And currently you are doing things with money, right? Thank you so much, Marsha, for saying that these are good insights and knowledge in this topic. So you have peace of mind with money and yourself, exactly as Marsha has mentioned. So this is a really great thing that I would wish for all of us, because when we are very stressed out by money, it really aggravates our mental health issues a lot of the time. And it's just an area that a lot of us wish we didn't have to worry or stress about. So if we really don't want to worry or stress about it, then a simple plan to be able to look after our money is what most of us want. But trying to find this is the reason why I created a plan for my family, because I couldn't create just one comprehensive, simple plan that I could just use for us and then also use to grow or build our wealth strategically over the time ahead. So I was like, this is really weird. Why do I have to find all this information in like 50 different places? I can find out about budgeting in loads of places. I can find out about investing loads of places. I can find out about wills and legacy loads of places. But there doesn't seem to be any like strategic umbrella that says this is a plan that covers all of those, that is integrated in a way that we really can feel like this could be something that could work for me, or it could be a framework that could, thanks Nadie Haps on Haps. You have to tell me how to say your name so I can say your name properly. Die. So this is why I wanted to create this course, because I had created this for my family, and then I realized that it's a prevalent issue with so many people that I talk to, and a lot of people don't know where to start, and so they don't begin. And so, sorry, just got to write something down. So if you don't know where to start and you don't begin, you'll end up losing so much money. We'll all will. There's a really good article on the balance. And if you don't subscribe to the balance, it's a really great blog to subscribe to, and you get email updates, and it will help us. It has helped me to just feel like I'm a little bit more on top of my personal finance in my day-to-day life. The balance.com and out like emails and newsletters saying, here's a bunch of articles that you may be interested in. And it's really great because they are one of the most comprehensive blogs that I've seen on just managing your own personal finance. And they also have different websites for the balance. I think it's small business, the balance careers. They have the normal balance, which is just overall personal finance, right? That it doesn't have as much of the career angle or the business owner angle. So thank you so much, Marsha, for saying this will make a difference in so many other people's lives. That ultimately is my goal and purpose in sharing all this, because I feel that if people are able to feel comfortable with their own money and their own financial lives, then we have the freedom to be able to fulfill our purpose. And what the world needs is more people fulfilling their purpose. And so that's what this is really rooted in, this course, is to cover this area and share what I have used so that other people may be able to develop the confidence to find their own way. And as a result of finding their own way, realize that they have grown in confidence and empowerment in themselves. They have done it for themselves, right? That you will have done this for you and you totally deserve it. And you do it, and your confidence grows and your empowerment grows, and all the things you wish you'd been taught in school about money, you start to take the steps towards teaching yourself, and you start to become your own teacher in this area that otherwise we can feel quite helpless in. So this is the reason why I wanted to create this course. It's coming out later this year, You can follow, share, or subscribe if this topic appeals to you at all and you want to hear more conversations about this. Thank you so much for joining, sharing, liking on whatever platform you're on. I look forward to your comments and to interacting with you more over the time ahead as we get closer to doing the launch date, which will be starting out with market testing, which is where I will ask some of you for, well, as many of you as possible for your opinions on the test version of the course for free. So that should be quite interesting when that comes out, whenever that may be. And just back to the topic of 3 mental health money safeguard ideas. For all of us who are struggling with mental health, for all of us who have had a history in mental health, those are my 3 mental health money safeguard ideas for today. Time deposit is number 1. Auto investing is number 2. Separate account is number 3. And this is designed to all increase the hassle of us accessing the money. So I'm glad that some of you feel like, especially Marsha's been saying, I love this topic. It's so needed in our lives. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that this could be a topic that could be of value to somebody out there. I hope that if you're watching this, that it's been of value to you. I just like to remind that this is a live broadcast at time of recording. So there will be a lot of comments coming in from different platforms that if you aren't on the platform HAPS, you won't see the comments that are showing up on other platforms. You will only see the comments that are showing up on the platform that you are currently on. So if you want to jump over to HAPS, you'll be able to see all the comments that have shown from all the different platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And we're still small right now. I'm just me creating the content and with a mission and purpose, building something in my slow turtle way. Thank you for subscribing, Irvin. Thank you so much. But I think having gone through a lot of mental health struggles and triumphs and finding my way, just on a side note, my depression, for anybody who has weird types of depression that aren't helped by antidepressants, in my experience, I had a weird type of depression that was actually inflammation based. And while there may have been some hormonal or other like instigating factors, when I cleaned up my diet, my depression went away. And when I have more processed foods and more of certain things, my mood starts to drop. So for me, essentially, I'm still in the middle. I'm still finding my way because old habits, you know, and I want sustainability rather than just sudden results and then bouncing back to it. And I've done a lot of bouncing back and yo-yoing and trying different diets and things, and my weight goes up and down quite a lot. But lower carb seems to work much better for me, and whole foods. And what I also realized was that I had a lot of toxic buildup in my blood, which essentially the short version is now I have a shake that is, I think it's insoluble fiber, or is it soluble fiber? I can't remember. Sorry everyone. But anyways, in the mornings, one of the things that really helped me to move past my depression was to, one, get told by a yoga instructor that this chronic inflammation thing was starting to become a real thing. Thank you very much for following, Marsha. So the chronic inflammation was becoming a real thing that's very prevalent in a lot of people's lives because we live in these major cities. We have a lot of stress, and we frankly eat a lot of processed food. Most of us will eat quite a lot of processed food. And then the other thing was that I was having, wait, what was I saying? I totally forgot what I was saying for some reason. So one, chronic inflammation is really a thing. 2, there's a type of depression. I don't remember the thing. There's a type of depression that is inflammation-based depression. So this is actually some kind of neurological response that I read about that's based in when our body is wired. I can't remember this. I think this is from a book called The Inflamed Brain. And I can't remember who that's by, but the book is The Inflamed Brain. And it talks about how, it talks about how when our bodies think we have a cold or an immunological response, then we will start to feel lower in mood sometimes because it wants us to sleep and recover and rest and be able to fight the virus. And so that can sometimes create the lower mood that we'll have. Usually when we have a cold or we actually have some kind of immunological response, we don't really notice that we're feeling down because we're feeling so bad in so many other ways that we're like, I just feel bad, like generally as like a sweeping thing, and crappy and maybe a bit down, but our brain can think that inflammation is an immunological response, even if it's just because of food or external factors, and make us feel down as a response to that inflammation that it thinks is us fighting a virus, but really we're not inflamed for other reasons. And so our body will make us feel more depressed. So I actually had chronic inflammation, and needed to clean up my diet in order to have a lot more fiber in my diet. And so what I do have more fiber and lower carbs, especially processed carbs. So this wasn't something that I thought was going to be able to be done like immediately and suddenly be sustainable. It's just not. It was something that has to be eased into my life. And the changes that I've made have already made such a difference. And I no longer have depression. I no longer have the associated inflammatory issues that go along with that, which were really, really debilitating. And the cause of my health problems that a lot of doctors just couldn't diagnose. They had no idea what was going on. And it's just, you know, sadly, it was one of those things that was saying, look, you know, traditional medicine and naturopathic medicine together probably are a lot more powerful than just one or the other. And in my case, that was absolutely true. So I had to start having green superfood shakes with a lot of flaxseed, brown flaxseed, and I drink that in the day to get extra fiber and extra toxin absorption through my system. So I drink that every day. And I also started to cut down on a lot of the white processed carbs that I was having before as a daily staple, like pastas and breads and things like that. So when I do have more breads again now, as I tend to, I have these themes where I suddenly get obsessed with this certain type of food. And it's currently white bread, which is delicious, but definitely has me feeling a little bit less energy, a little bit more tired, a little bit more forgetful, as you probably tell, than usual if I'm having lower carbs. So what I really found was the direction I need to work towards is low carb, and the direction that I need to work towards is essentially low carb and whole food. So whole food essentially is, if it looks like the thing that it was born as, like an apple looks like an apple, a fish or a bit of a fish quite clearly looks like a bit of a fish, right? An egg looks like an egg. If it looks like the thing that it was originally like born as, like there's no ingredients and it's just that thing, eat those things. And if it has ingredients on it, or it has a best buy date on it in terms of like best before 2257 kind of thing, then yeah, it's probably on the no pile of processed foods. So those are some things that I experienced through my own mental health journey, and those three topics are some of the mental health money safeguards that I tried while I was in that mental health struggle. And I didn't manage to do them as efficiently as I would have liked because I was right in the middle of everything. And I think that it's something that I wanted to share with other people, to say that the three areas of mental health money safeguard ideas are to, one, put your money into a time deposit so that you find it quite hard to access it, but it still kind of safeguards your money while not having it just sitting in your account for you to use. Two, auto invest the money every month and make that a habit so it comes straight out of your paycheck and into some investment every single month automatically. You can set it up with your bank. And three is to have a separate account, which is to stash your money somewhere, which I don't necessarily love the idea of. I have tried it, and I definitely did not want to access that money because it was such a pain to try and get into some separate account. that I couldn't remember all the details of and everything. I had to go in person to get the money out when I eventually did get the money out. So those are the 3 mental health money safeguard ideas. So thank you very much, Marcia, for saying that it was really wonderful that I found the right remedies for my well-being, and it will be different. Thank you, Blueberry. Hi, Aura from Aura Valley. Thank you for my high award. That's very sweet and kind of you. I appreciate it. But yes, everybody who has mental health issues will have their own journey and have their own path, and we will grow stronger as a result of having battled through this. So I have spoken to somebody else who had very chronic and severe anxiety, and now has a company that helps to raise awareness and deal with mental health, specifically anxiety, in schools and in corporations. And what we both mutually agreed on in a conversation about mental health stuff was we're so mentally strong in ways that we did not realize we would become. So because we had to really try and force ourselves to just get through the day, like now doing anything that we have to put our minds to, it will happen because we are so like established at just having to force ourselves to get through the day, really. And because of the fact that we had to force ourselves so strongly throughout just every normal day, it developed a really great mental strength muscle that we could apply in all these other areas of life. And that is one of the unexpected benefits and side effects of having to go through these very difficult struggles. We are much stronger as a result of it. And so I hope that anyone who's going through these difficult times can see some light at the end of a tunnel and say, okay, I somewhere know that I could get out of this, or it could get better at some point. And I'm glad that I am going to be out of this, or I'm going to be managing this, or I'm going to be stronger as a result of going through these terrible, terrible challenges. So I think that that is something that I will leave with all of you at the end of this Mental Health Money Safeguard Ideas broadcast. Thank you so much for joining, everybody, and I hope to see you on more future broadcasts. Thank you for everybody who is joining on every single platform. Once again, this is a live broadcast at the time of recording, so if you're seeing messages pop up, then it is from the... If you're on HAPS, you'll see all the messages from all the platforms. And if you're just on one platform, then you will see only the messages that have been written on that platform, like YouTube or Instagram or something like that. So if you want to see all the comments, you can jump on over to HAP there. I'll be broadcasting more about money topics, money empowerment, this money course that I'm creating to help us all feel more confident with our money and feel more empowered to talk about it, learn about it, and empower ourselves to take the next steps in being our own money bosses, being our own money masters, and really feeling confident in our lives enough that we get our money under control and then we live in our highest purpose. This is really my goal for all of these scopes, all of these broadcasts, all of these YouTubes, all of these, everything is really spreading awareness and raising collective consciousness of empowerment and confidence in this topic. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye, everyone.